Today we are here to know more about what is cybersecurity, what is ethical hacking, and what are the different cyber attacks. So before starting today's presentation, I would like to ask you all some general questions which will make you think. So the question like, have you heard about the cybersecurity? Is the knowledge of cybersecurity is really important in today's life? Are you safe in digital world? Have you even been a victim of cybercrime? And finally, I would like to ask the question, would you like to become the part of this army? Okay, so let's start with this, the first day of this webinar, that is Introduction to Cybersecurity and Ethical Hacking. Okay, my screen is visible? Yeah. So let's start with this PPT. Let's start. So in regular life also, we face many cyber crimes issues like credit card frauds. So in credit card frauds, we receive a call and they ask the information like credit card number, credit card expiry date, CVV number. And after getting this all the information, they took money from this credit card. The attacks like you can say the phone pay, Google Pay, QR code fraud. So they give us one scan QR code and ask that you will get this money in your account if you scan this QR code. But actually, they deduct the money is actually deducted from our account only. So same way we have the Paytm fake scratch card fraud also. That is also one type of cybercrime. Reward fraud on WhatsApp, SMS, mail. So many times we receive the messages on our WhatsApp, text messages, and some mails that telling that you just click on this link, then you will get all the attractive offers. And bank fraud, that everyone knows about this bank fraud. That you receive you receive a call from any person that I'm calling from this bank, and if you don't share any details or I want some details from your side, otherwise your account will be blocked. So that is also a kind of bank fraud. And because of that fear, we give some information to that person and that will be easy for that person to hack your accounts. So here I like to give one example of one of my friend about these cyber crimes. So what happened actually, he received one SMS for an attractive offer, mentioning one number in that you just call on this number, then you will get the offer, or you can say some attractive offer from this. So you simply call on this number. That's fine. Let's see which offer they are giving us.
Yes, Smita. Good evening. Good evening. So basically, Bangalore.
So what happened?
Working with the college. Okay.
So here what happened? He called on that number and he called on that number, and here what happened, that attacker took some information from me, that you just give me this information, you just give me that information, and definitely you will receive one OTP or any number which will help me to give you this offer. So he started to giving this number, and suddenly he strike that no, this number is something, this call is something is fishy, and I will be the victim of this call. So he cut that call at that time. So you can say that he's safe from that cybercrime, but this can happen with anyone. So this is just one of the example which we face in our regular life. Many of us also facing such kind of cyber crimes in our life. Okay. So in these crimes, not only the individuals, but big organizations also become the victim of these cyber attacks. So recently also we faced one, we read one news about this attack, that is a ransomware attack, and that is happening with one of the big hospital. Okay, and they encrypt their data, or you can say they block their data and ask for the ransom if they want to unblock that data. So such type of many examples we have in our individual's life as well as in the organizational life. So here is one chart that identifies what are the economic losses due to this cybercrime. So here you can easily see that around 6 trillion US dollars, okay, that much loss is happening because of this cybercrime, and which will be become 10.5 trillion US dollars in 2025. But when we calculate the Indian economy currency, then it is around only 3.5 trillion US dollars. So see how much cyber crimes hamper our society, our world, our organization, or can say all individuals. So among these cyber crimes, the phishing is the number one cybercrime attack. Okay, and as per the report, ransomware damages loss of $20 billion in 2021, and which will be become 265 billion US dollars in 2031. To see the gap, see the how much damages are happening because of these cyber crimes. Okay, it's really dangerous for our organizations, for our world, for all the individuals, for these cyber crimes. So to prevent from these cyber crimes, we have the cybersecurity. We implement the cybersecurity at organizational levels. We follow some rules, you can say, at the individual's level. So let's start with the introduction of the cybersecurity. So nowadays we can say data. Data is new oil. Okay. So data, you can say any personal information, any organizational information. So all those data is nothing but the new oil, and which is really valuable. So cyber security is nothing but, you can say, it is to protect the data, endpoint devices, and network from the threats. So these threats means, you can say, from external threats, from internal threats. So to save our data from those threats, we use the cyber security. So that is nothing but the cyber security, which will help us to protect ourselves from the different cyber crimes. Okay. So what are the exactly advantages of the cyber security? So here you can see some of the advantages of the cyber security, like protect personal data. Now, if you're talking about the personal data, so in personal data, you can take the example of your credit card information, your financial data, your medical data, that is all comes under your personal data. So by using the cyber security, you can save or you can protect your personal data. If you're talking about the next advantage, that is a protect business reputation. Again, it is very important that business reputation is hit the hardest due to the data breaches. If the data is hacked by the attacker or hacker, you can say, of any organizational data, then it's really, you can say, reputational part of this organization. Okay, so they can lose the trust from the audience. So that's why it is cyber is one of the advantages that is used to protect the business reputation, enhance productivity. Definitely here what happens if the cyber crimes or if any attacks is happen on any organization, definitely for that time there is no business continuity, and it reduces the productivity of that organization. So cyber security, when we implement the cyber securities on an organization, so definitely it is helpful to enhance the productivity of that organization. Similar way, we have some advantages like prevented website crash. Small businesses often host their websites, hence infected system will lead to a website crash. Next, the better data management. Yes, data loss may cause organization start work from scratch. So if there is no cyber security and if hacker attacks on your organization, there is a data loss, no proper data management is no data management is there, then what will happen here? Organization again need to start from this scratch. Okay, so those are the some advantages here. You can say the cyber security advantages, fine, as well as it is really helpful to maintain the trust and credibility of any organization. Okay, okay, among the audience. Okay, so those are the advantages of the cyber security. Fine. Next, let's see what are these security elements we have. Okay, cyber security elements we have. So here some of these security elements I have mentioned here. So whenever we implement the cyber security, okay, so that may be on your endpoint devices. You can say that is on your network devices, on your data, on the applications, cloud, on even on your identity management. Okay. So endpoint security here, you can say that the devices like desktop, laptop, yes, definitely they are also attacked by the attacker. So to protect them or to secure them, we have the endpoint security. So here we have the different tools, like we can use here the SANET as a tool, which is used at the endpoint security, you say. The network security. So endpoint security devices, okay, we have given the security on the endpoint, that is on the desktop or that's the laptop. But whenever we are talking about the network, so it is, we can say it is a set of or bunch of different devices. They are communicate with each other. So again, it is very important to save our network from the hackers. Okay, so if any attack on the network, so definitely they hamper all the devices or all endpoint devices present in that network. So again, network security is very important to secure our network. And here we can use the different products, or you can say different tools, like we have the some firewalls we can implement here. The firewalls like checkpoint firewalls we can implement here. We can implement here the you can say the Palo Alto. Those are the some vendors, or those are the some firewalls we use for the network security. Data security, again, that type of security is on the data. Here you can take the example of DLP. We have the DLP concept and technology. We have the DLP, that is the data loss prevention. So here we can implement the security on our data. And here you can take some tools or some products we have, like GTV products we have here, we use for the data. Application security, the security which is at application level. We can take the example like companies like Versace also. Versace product is also available for the application security. Cloud security. Yes, cloud security. Nowadays we save the data. Many organizations use clouds to save their data or to set up their infrastructure on the cloud. So it is again very important to save our clouds. So again, we have one of the element, that is the cloud security. Identity management, again, it is very important. Means here indirectly, we are taking any identity of any user. Means we are taking the credentials like their username, password without their permission. So we are using those access, and we can steal the data by using those access. So that comes under here the identity management. Okay. Fine. So next, let's see here, we have already covered the cyber security. Now let's see what are the different cyber attacks, right? A cyber attack is an attempt to disable computers, steal data, or use a breach computer system to launch additional attacks. So here are some examples of attacks, you can say. Here you can able to see the attacks like malware attack, ransomware attack, man-in-middle attack, then social engineering, SQL injection, phishing. Those are the some examples of the cyber attacks. So earlier I gave one example of ransomware. So what is that ransomware? So one of the big organization, or one of the big hospital, he become the victim. That hospital become the victim of the ransomware attack. So where the attacker asked for the ransom, that this is a real example here, real life example. This is recently happened. Okay. So this is the attacker asked for the ransom from that one of the leading hospital, and they stole their data. They blocked their data and asked ransom or asked the money. Okay. to unblock that data. So that is nothing but you can take the example of ransomware. So here attackers, you can say encrypt data or block the data and ask for the ransom from the organization. So it may possible that encrypt is a new word for you here. So encrypt is nothing but you can say the data which is unreadable format. So that is simple layman term. Encrypt, that is you can say simply unreadable format. So that data is in the encrypted format and attacker asks for the ransom. So that's why the name itself is saying that this is a ransomware attack. Here we can take the example of phishing. So in phishing, it is a practice wherein the hacker usually sends fraud emails which appear to be coming from a valid sender or a trusted source, you can say. So many people receive this mass spam mails in their account. Okay, they are telling us click on this link, you will get this good opportunity to win this reward. Okay. And many of the people know these are the spam mails and this is something uh, we receive the mails from invalid or not from the trusted source, but still one of the five people still click on that and become the victim of that cyber crime, you can say. So that is a part of the phishing. You can take here the example in the man in the middle. So name itself indicating man in the middle. So suppose there is a connection between 2 points, you can say one is a client and one is a server, you can say. Okay. So the person who is in between client and server takes some information unknowingly, takes some information from the sender or you can say from the client, and by using that information it directly contact to the server and it starts accessing the data from that server. So it is a man in the middle. That is the man in the middle attack. Again, identity theft, we can take the example of identity theft. That is again one of the cyber attack when some person uses another person's identity information like their name, ID name, and CC number without their permission, then we call it as an identity theft. Okay. Spam, I already told about the spam. We receive the spam mails and there are very attractive offers that you click on this link, you will get this reward. And what is the purpose behind this? The purpose is simply advertising, phishing, or spreading the malware. Okay, so those are the some you can take some cyber attacks here. Fine. So social engineering attacks, it is again one type of attack, and those are like here we have some examples of social engineering like phishing, baiting, pretexting, fear, greed, curiosity, helpfulness, urgency. So just now I gave one example of greed that one of my friend received SMS that you just call on this number, you will get this reward or you will get this gift. And he simply called on that number. But before giving all the information, he realized that no, this is something is fishy. Okay. So that person wants to take some information from my side and is trying to attack me. So that is a kind of greed. Okay. Fear also, you can take the example of fear here. Like the call received from a bank that you have to give some information about your account, or you just share the one number which you receive on your mobile. Okay. Otherwise your account will be get blocked. So that is again because of fear also they give the information, but that is not actual. That is a part of the attacker, or you can say that is a part of social engineering attacks. Okay, so those are the some examples of social engineering attacks, and many of the people unknowingly, many of the people unknowingly falls for the cyber attacks. Okay, so helpfulness. some calls also we receive from charity that can you provide these details or can you give some charity? You just fill this form, you will get. So that is again a kind of helpfulness. So those are the some examples of the social engineering attacks here we have. Okay, so I have just given some examples of this fear, greed, and helpfulness, and many times in our real life also we face such type of challenges. Okay, so let's see one attack of the social engineering, that is the phishing attack. Here, phishing attack. So here hackers use the deceptive phishing emails, websites, and you can see the text messages to steal sensitive personal or organizational information. So simply they send one mail, or you can say some text messages to us for uh, any you can say attractive rewards, you can say that here. So these mails we receive from these unknown numbers, or you can say from unknown sender, and despite how well known phishing emails techniques, although everyone knows that yes, this mail is received from the some attacker, you can say, although we know that this mail we don't receive from any trusted sender, but still we click on that. Some people click on that for great reason, you can say that, and indirectly or unknowingly they share their information with that attacker. Okay, so this is the one of the phishing attack. Okay, like phishing attack, the same we have the next wishing attack. Wishing attack, you can say it is a part of phishing only. But in this case, the attacker gives the voice calls to the victim to get the information from that person. Okay, so that's why this is known as the wishing attack. So in this diagram, you can say that one person has called to victim and he's saying that I'm calling from the bank, okay, and that you are facing some issue with the bank account. So please share this information with us. And that attacker trying to take the remote desktop access from that victim. Okay, so here by giving some information or by taking some information from the victim, the attacker becomes successful to take the remote access of that victim. Okay, and when the attacker gets that remote access, then it is very big. It is become very easy for the attacker to steal the data from that victim. Okay, so this is a very easy example from the picture. Also, you can easily identify this is one of the phishing attacks. Okay, where the attacker call the victim or you can say any person with the that is by the voice calls. Okay, here I like to show you one video, small video to show the wishing. Yeah, sorry.
Am I speaking to Mr. Umesh Mehta?
Yes. What is this regarding?
Hello, sir. I'm Swati Mishra calling from GHC Bank. So you have been a loyal customer. So we want to send you on a free trip to Australia. On this trip, you can take up to one guest. So who would you like to take along with you, sir?
My wife?
Oh, so sweet, sir. अंकल जी घूमना चाहते हैं और हमारा काम है उनको घुमाना. Sir, can you give me her name and your PAN card number, please?
Yes, yes. Her name is Parul Mehta. And PAN number is...
अंकल जी ने अपने बैंक सिक्योरिटी क्वेश्चंस के सारे जवाब दे दिए.
So, when are you sending us?
When would you like to go, sir?
July is a birthday, no?
Oh, that's great, sir. I have selected July. To confirm the month of July, please help me with the 6-digit international travel code that we have just sent you, sir. हमारा बोलने का मतलब OTP था, लेकिन जब हम इसको इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल कोड बोलते हैं, तो हमारा अंकल जी का जो दिमाग है
7
वेकेशन मोड में चला जाता है.
4 5261.
थैंक यू सो मच सर। देखो हमने अंकल जी के ओटीपी से इनके बैंक अकाउंट में घुस के इनके रिटायरमेंट सेविंग्स के सारे पैसे ढाप लिए।
You know, my wife will love this surprise.
यस सर, दिस विल बी अ बिग सरप्राइज। आपको क्या लगता है आपके साथ नहीं हो सकता?
Yes, exactly. So then why not you, right? So in this small video, it is really good video for the phishing attack, can say here. And in this video, the uncle, okay, that person has given the all his information unknowingly to that girl who wants to take all the information from that uncle or that person for and for giving the attack on that, right? So this is you can say this is a small video for the phishing attack. Okay? So next, let's start with the next attack, that is the malware attack, where we are going to see about the ransomware. Okay. So what is the ransomware exactly? So ransomware is it restricts user access to the computer either by encrypting files on the hard drive or locking down the system and displaying messages that are intended to force the user to pay the malware creator to remove the restrictions and regain access to their computer. So here is a small definition of the ransomware. In ransomware, attacker encrypt the files on the hard drive, or you can say locking down the system so the victim or so that organization could not access their data. And here the attacker asks for the ransom from this organization to decrypt the data, or you can say to unlock the data. So that is the ransomware attack here we have. This is a small diagram here you can see. Oops, your files have been encrypted. So there is a lock that your data is locked, or you can say data is blocked or encrypted, and your files will be lost within this time. So time also mentioned is there. And if you really want to decrypt this data or unblock your data, you need to pay this much amount in the Bitcoin form. And they give this address for this. Okay, so this kind of attack is ransomware, and nowadays you can have the many examples in the world. The many organizations are facing this type of attack. That is the ransomware attack, and they need to give this ransom to the attacks if they want to, you can say, get back the data or unblock their data or decrypt it. Okay, so here you can take very good precautions here. You can make the habit of the daily backup of your data, which will really helpful for you to prevent the organization from this kind of ransomware attacks. Okay. The next attack is the man in the middle attack. In this attack, here you can see the diagram. There is one user and one website, and the attacker is in between the user and website. And there is a cross mark between the original connection, because here the attacker is taking some information, like you can take the example of IP address from the user, and the attacker directly access the server by using that information. So it will become very easy for attacker to access the data from the server or from that website which is available. So in this case also, the server is hacked from this attacker by using this man in middle attack. Okay. The next, let's have a small demo here, demonstration for email spoofing attack. Okay. Let's see. Here we have okay, this is the email spoofer. Here I'm entering some email address. This is the sender@hacker.com. That is email address. Okay. And I'm entering from this name, the sender name. I'm mentioning the subject of this. Fine. Hello. And giving the message, please share your CC details for your account, you can say, or some bank details to unblock your account. And then mention here the receiver's email ID. Here I'm mentioning the receiver and send. Okay. Let's see whether I receive a mail or not from this. Yeah, this receive I received in the spam mail. Yeah, inbox. Yeah. Yeah, this is in. Okay. So this mail I received from this sender@hacker.com. Okay, this is the sender. I received a mail from this. Okay. But when and to me, this is my mail ID. But when I click on this email ID, I can able to see from where the email I received. Okay, so from here you can easily identify, yes, this is a spam mail, and don't click anywhere and don't reply on this type of mails, because these are the some phishing mails which will try to attack on you for getting some information from your side. Okay, so this is a small demonstration you can see for the email spoofing, which is the one of the attack we have. Right? I hope everyone got this email spoofing. Okay. Okay, so let's see what are the different cyber threats and vulnerabilities. Okay, so still now we have seen about the cyber attacks. So what exactly the cyber attacks? It is the actual act of exploiting the information security systems weaknesses. So it is actual attack. It is exploitation of on the information you can say. Okay, on the weaknesses you can say. So this is actual attack. So can I say that the attacker is a person or a process that attempts to access data, functions, or other restricted areas of the system without, you can say, authorization, potentially with the malicious intent. Okay. So attack, that is the actual attack or actual exploitation on these weaknesses, and the whoever they're doing this exploitation or attack, we call as an attacker. Then what is exactly threat? Okay. So then what is exactly threat? So threat is nothing but it is a possible security risk that might exploit the vulnerability of a system or asset. Okay. So threat, that is a possibility you can say here, and attack, that is the actual exploitation of this. Right? So what is the vulnerability? Here we have mentioned the exploit the vulnerability. So vulnerability means what exactly? You can say here the vulnerability is nothing but the weakness in an IT system that can be exploited by the attacker to deliver a successful attack. Okay, so if there is any vulnerability, if there is any flaws, any errors in these features, you can say the attacker, that will become very easy for attacker to attack on these flaws or attack on this vulnerability to get the access of your system. Okay, so those are the nothing but the vulnerabilities, threats, and the attacks. So in this diagram, you can easily see what is the relation. So that is a threat plus vulnerability is equal to risk. Okay, so threat is the potential, you can say. Vulnerability, you can say some weaknesses or you can say the flaws, and that become the risk of this risk for this individual or for the organization. Here you can say. Okay, so there are some cyber threats here we have, like phishing, ransomware, again, whatever the attacks we have seen. So those attacks are also related to your the cyber threats. So again, we have the different types of cyber threats here: phishing, ransomware, malware, virus, and worms. You can consider in that key login, trojans, denial of services, etc. Those are the some cyber attacks or cyber threats. You can say. Sorry, cyber threats. You can say here we have some examples of cyber. So here we are going to see some phrase. Exactly, virus. I took the virus because virus is very common word. Every day we have heard a virus attack virus. So like that. So what exactly is this virus? So virus is a type of computer program that when executed replicates itself and inserts its own code, ultimately affecting the functioning of the computer. So for a virus, we require the human intervention. So when we execute any file or when we run any execute any program, at that time only virus replicates. So without human interface, the virus does not replicate. So here we require the human intervention. So what are the effects or what are the attacks are there? What are the effects of the viruses? So viruses can cause stealing passwords or stealing data, logging keystrokes, like spamming the emails contacts, corrupting files, or even the viruses can taking over your machine control. So here we have the small example of logging keystrokes. So what is the effect of logging keystrokes? So here you can say key logging. So basically it is the action of recording the keys struck on a keyboard so that a person using the keyboard is unaware that their actions are being monitored. Okay. So whenever I type on my keyboard, suppose I'm typing my credentials, username and password, so that is easily accessible or you can say that is easily monitored by the attacker and they can easily see what is the credentials and they can use those credentials for stealing our data. Okay, so these are the key logging. It is very easy example. And here I have given logging from diagram also. You can easily see that the user, one person is entering something on this his keyboard, and there are some eyes they are showing on this monitor. So this is the monitor. So those eyes are monitor what exactly the user is doing on this keyboard. So the next one you can see the worm. So what is worm? It is a stand-alone malware computer program that replicates itself in order to spread to other computers. It often uses a computer network to spread itself, relying on security failures on the target computers to access it. So, unlike viruses, worms does not require the human intervention. They can spread in the network, okay, and they can damage your network. Okay, so viruses we require the human intervention. Worm we don't require the human intervention. They can spread itself within their network. So, what are the impacts of worms here? They can cause harm to their host networks by consuming the bandwidth. So suppose I have one bandwidth that transfer the data from one machine to another machine. So worms, what they do, they consume their bandwidth and whatever data actual I want to transfer, that much data is not transferring. So definitely the speed or network slowness issue we can face here. So that is because of this issue or that is because of these threats worm. And it is again impact on your server, overloading the web server. So those are the some impacts of the worm on our network and our servers. Fine. Next one is the DDoS attack, you can say. DDoS, that is the distributed denial of service. So denial of service. So multiple requests, the server receives a multiple requests from the clients, unwanted requests. So that server become busy to handle those queries only. Okay. And they cannot handle the other queries which are really valid. So again, here we can able to see in this picture that many requests the server receives from the client machines or different machines, so that that server become very busy in that or to solve those requests from these clients. And again, here we can say that the cyber attacks that hackers or cyber criminals employ in order to make an online service, network resource, or host machine unavailable to its intended users on the internet. So the server is really busy for handling all those queries which are really unwanted, and the actual valid request is not entertained or is not handled by the service. So other also are all the systems are busy to make the server live in that case. So we can say at that time, we can say the server is down, or you can say server is not unreachable. In this DDoS attack, you can say. Okay. So up to here, we have covered about the cyber attacks, cyber threats, but what is exactly motive behind these attacks? So here we have some motives like money, opinions and protest, governments, and for fun also, the cyber attacks happen. So money, yes, we totally agree. For getting more money or for earning more money, we have this motive behind these cyber attacks. Opinions and protect, you can say, to promote any logical agenda or social changes, the cyber attacks happen. Governments, so suppose one country wants any confidential information from other country, yes, they perform these cyber attacks. And sometimes some attackers do these cyber attacks just because of the fun. So those are the some motives behind these cyber attacks. Okay. So again, it's very important here. Again, it's very important how to prevent from all these attacks. Okay, all attacks are there. Ransomware attack, malware attack, man-in-the-middle attack, phishing attack, all attacks are there. But how to prevent from all these attacks or from all these threats? So there are some different ways we have to prevent from those attacks. The first is we can say here we need to use the complex password for all accounts. So you know which is the most popular password. If you know, please type in the chat box. Okay. Complex password, I told you that. Okay, keep the complex password. But anyone knows what are the complex passwords or what is the common password which we use? So you feel it's very silly, but yes, it's true. The password is the popular password which is used by many users. And the next password is 12345. Yes, exactly. 12345 6. Those are the common passwords used by the many people. These are the used by the many people. Yes, exactly. Yes, I got the many answers from the participants. So they are also aware what type of password they are using. Okay. So next one is the disable auto logins. Many times, on many sites, we give the credentials, that is the username and the password, and we click on the save button. So that is the auto login. So please disable this auto login. So try to put your username and the password every time. Always check authenticity of the website being visited. You just check whether that is a really authenticate website or not. Always scan and use physical storage devices. Okay. So whatever the physical devices we are using, we can say external hard disk, USB, you can say, please scan all these devices. Use a proper antivirus. Okay, don't use that free one. Take some money for your security and give the scanning for these storage devices. Okay. Next, you can say always change the default admin password on your Wi-Fi routers to a strong password known only to you. Fine. So don't keep the same password always. Change the password very frequently of your Wi-Fi routers and please make it very strong. Okay. So here, first point we have seen that is a complex password. That many users using the password 1234. That those are the common password. But try to keep those complex password, including the alphabets, numbers, and some special characters in the password. So that will become very strong password. And try to keep little bit lengthy password, which will help. So you can also remember that, and which will become difficult for attacker also to identify the password. Okay. Always scan external devices. So before using an external device like USB or external hard disk, please scan those devices. Okay. Do scan all emails attachment for viruses before opening them. Again, I'm telling use good antiviruses here. Observe your surroundings for schemers or people observing your PIN before using your ATM and PC. So whenever if you are in the public area and you are using your personal accounts or bank accounts, so see whether anyone is seeing that or not, because it's like a shoulder surfing, you can say shoulder surfing. So some people are seeing your details and they can easily share or they can easily get what are the credentials of yours. So please take precautions here. Okay. So be cautious while browsing through public Wi-Fi. Again, many people are using the public Wi-Fi. That is a free use. So please take the precautions logging into the personal and professional account such as email and banking on these networks. Always check HTTPS or padlock appears, as everyone knows that in URL we put the http:// but the next level is HTTPS. Next level is the HTTPS, that is S stands for secure. So that is the HTTPS. So try to use HTTPS sites which will help to protect your websites. Okay. And the very important part is that if you are really aware about this cybersecurity, so please try to share all your information or your knowledge with your dear ones. Okay, so they can also save themselves from these cyber crimes. So they cannot become the victim for these cyber crimes. So these are the some do's here we have. Next, what are the don'ts? Like don't share your passwords, pins, or OTP or passcode with anyone. Fine. So if you get any OTP, so don't share that OTP with anyone. No bank employee asks for the OTP. No bank employee asks for what is the password. Okay, so please don't share your passwords with anyone. Okay. The next you can say do not post sensitive or personally identification information. So many here I can say that many people have they are habitual about that. Yes, today this is my very special day, or today we have done this. So many people are very habitual to share their personal information on this can say the social media. So please try to avoid that because attackers are ready to get that information from your side. They are ready to get all those information from this. Don't open unsolicited emails. Check the validity. If they are really secure, then only go with these emails. Don't open attachments from unsolicited emails. Fine. If you are getting any attachment from the unknown user or you can say from unknown sender, don't open that attachment. Do not share your net banking passwords, one-time password, ATM, or phone banking PIN, CVV numbers, etc. with anyone. Don't use the pirated, unauthorized software or applications on your system. Use the license copy. I know that is, you can say, but that is costly. You need to pay. But again, that is very important for security prospects. Don't download the software or application from unknown or untrusted sources. If you are really not confident about any software and if you are doubt, please don't download any software. Don't save your username and password in the web browser. As I earlier told you that, please don't click on the save button. Don't access personal and professional accounts such as email or banking on public Wi-Fi. So here you can face the attacks like a man in middle. They can get the information from your side and they can, that will be easy for them to access your personal information. And don't check keep me logged in or remember me option on websites again, especially on public computers. So if we are using a personal computer, that's fine, that's really great. You can go with this option, but try to don't use this option. But this is very harmful for in the public computer. So many users, many people are using the nowadays also using the cyber cafe for accessing any accounts. So please don't click keep me logged. That will be really dangerous for your security. So please try to avoid that check me log option in mainly in the public computers. Okay, so these are the some do's and don'ts we have here. Okay, and they are really essential for everyone to follow these instructions to prevent themselves from these cyber crimes. Okay. So with all these precautions, many organizations go with the VA. Now there is a name in front of you, that is a vulnerability assessment. So many organizations use this vulnerability assessment. So what exactly is vulnerability assessment? You can say it is a systematic review of security weaknesses in an information system. Okay. So in VA, I just want to check what are the vulnerabilities are present in my networks, or you can say in my environments, and which is really helpful. So for doing this assessment, doing this vulnerability assessment, okay, so we can easily find out what are the weaknesses and how attackers can attack on these weaknesses for getting organizational information. So by using this vulnerability assessment, we can find out the weaknesses and we can give the report to the organization, and organization can easily then work on that to minimize these vulnerabilities and to protect the organization from the cyber criminal, you can say, or the cyber attack. So there are some steps we have in vulnerability assessment: goals and objectives, scope, information gathering, vulnerability detection, information analysis, and the planning. So goals and objectives, yes. Check why we want the vulnerability assessment, why we want to do the vulnerability assessment. What are the scope? What are the tasks we need to do? We need to perform here. So those are that is the scope here we have. After this, set information, or you can collect the information, gather the information, that what type of information we need for this vulnerability assessment. Information may be passive or from the active. So passive, you can take this information, publicly available information, you can say the passive information, and the active information is nothing but you can say some deep sensitive information we need for this vulnerability assessment. So that comes under the information gathering. After this, the next step is vulnerability detection. So whatever the information we gather, check what are the vulnerabilities are there in in that you can say in that process. So or in this mm, whatever the testing we have done. So what are the vulnerabilities are present in that? So that is also we can see in this fifth process, that is vulnerability detection. And finally, we can say this information analysis and the planning. So whatever information we get, just analyze that information, share that information with the organization, and suggest the organization what will be the next step for this. Okay, so which will help to the organization also to see what are the vulnerabilities are present in the network, in their organizations, and accordingly they can take action on this and prevent the organization from the cyber attacks. So these are the some vulnerability assessment. Here we have, these are the some steps we have. So what are the different tools we use for the vulnerability assessment? So here we have the network scanning tools like Nessus, Nexpose, Nikto, OpenVAS, Nmap. Those are the some tools we have for the vulnerability assessment. Okay. So now, till now we have covered what are these, what is the cyber security, what are the different cyber attacks we have, what are the different cyber threats we have, what is vulnerability, and why the vulnerability assessment is really important for the organization to prevent them from different cyber attacks. We have seen some real life or real time examples also here. Many organizations also face many different cyber attacks. Okay. So next is ethical hacking. Here you can say it is ethical hacking is a, you can take it, you can consider this part. Now, till now we have spoken about this vulnerability assessment. What exactly the ethical hacking is this? So ethical hacking is the process. It is a process of detecting vulnerabilities in an application, system, or organization infrastructure that an attacker can use to exploit an individual or organization. Okay, so it comes under your ethical hacking. So if I want to detect the vulnerabilities, what are present in my network or in my systems, in my infra, in my applications. So I go for this ethical hacking, which is really helpful to detect those vulnerabilities. They use this process to prevent cyber attacks and security breaches by lawfully hacking into the systems and looking for weak points. Okay, so VA, they check, they make some attacks on the networks and check where are the vulnerabilities or where are the flaws in that network, and accordingly they give this report to the organization. So why ethical hacking? So ethical hackers use their knowledge to secure and to improve the technology of organization. They provide an essential service to these organizations by looking for vulnerabilities that can lead to a security breach. An ethical hacker reports the identified vulnerability to the organization. Just now I told you that vulnerabilities that is done by these ethical hackers. Okay, and this is very with the lawful, fine. So this ethical hacking is really improved, means they ethical hackers share their knowledge to secure and improve the technology of organizations. Okay. So what are the different types of hackers we have? We have like the hackers like white hat hacker, black hat hacker, and gray hat. So what is white hat hackers? The name itself indicates that those are they are doing the hacking, but that is with the in the ethical manner. So they look for the bugs and ethically report it to the organization, and they are authorized users who do this. Okay. So at organization level, they check any vulnerabilities and find out those, and they submit their report to the organization to work on that and to get the solution on that. The black hat, exactly opposite of that white hat, the organization does not allow the user to test it. They unethically enter inside the website and steal data from the admin panel or manipulate the data. So for stealing data, they do the attacks. So that comes under the black hat attacks. So they are not ethical. They are unethical. Black hat. Ethical, that is the white hat. So we call them as the ethical hackers. And the gray hat, they sometimes access to the data and violates the law, but never have the same intention as black hat hackers. They often operate for the common good only. Okay, they don't have the intention like black hat. They're doing good only. But what exactly the difference between white hat and the black hat, gray hat? The white hat hackers works at organizational level, but gray hat hackers works at the publicly. They exploit the vulnerability publicly. But white hat hackers exploits their vulnerabilities in the privately, in the company, at the organization level. So that's why we call them as the white hat hackers. So in many organizations, we have some separate team, that is, those are the ethical hackers. You can a small team, you can say there. So they check the vulnerabilities in their organization. They give the proper report to the organization. So we call them as ethical hackers, or we can say those are the white hat hackers. So here, what skills should ethical hackers have? What we require for ethical hackers? So they should have the networking skills, computer skills, Linux, SQL skill, hardware knowledge, knowledge of reverse engineering, cryptography, database skills, problem solving skills. So those are the some skills we require for the ethical hackers. So here we have seen about the ethical hacker. Okay, you can say ethical hackers do the offensive security. So they simply do the attacks on your existing network in the existing environment, and they check the vulnerability. And they finally give the report. But to protect from these vulnerabilities, or to protect or to minimize those vulnerabilities, we have the defensive security, which we consider under the cybersecurity. So those are the, you can say, ethical hacking is a small part where we perform the offensive security, we check the vulnerabilities, how the attackers think in that way. Okay, so we think in that way, and on to minimize those vulnerabilities or to minimize the attacks, we go with the defensive security, which comes under your cyber security. Okay, so this comes to the end of my presentation, and I'm happy to answer of any question if you have.